सर्वेश्वर भगवान की जय, गंगा मैया की जय, भारत माता की जय, धरती माता की जय, हर हर महादेव।
ओम जय गंगे माता मैया, जय गंगे माता, जो नर तुमको ध्याता, जो नर मैया जी को ध्याता, मनोवांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता। चंद्र सी ज्योत तुम्हारी, जल निर्मल आता, मैया जल निर्मल आता। शरण पड़े जो तेरी, शरण पड़े जो तेरी, सो नर तर जाता। ओम जय गंगे माता। एक ही बार जो तेरी शरणागति आता, मैया शरणागति आता। यम के त्रास मिटा कर, यम के कष्ट मिटा कर, परम गति पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता। आरती मात तुम्हारी, जो जन नित गाता, मैया प्रेम सहित गाता। दास वही असज में, भक्त वही असज में, मुक्ति को पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, ओम जय गंगे माता, मैया जय गंगे माता। जो नर तुमको ध्याता, जो नर मैया जी को ध्याता, मनोवांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, जय गंगे माता, जय गंगे माता। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या
द्रविणं त्वमेव
त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् शान्तिः 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 जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल
जय राधा रमण हरि बोल जय राधा रमण हरि बोल
जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल जय
राधा रमण हरि बोल जय राधा रमण हरि बोल
जय जय राधा रमण जय राधा रमण जय राधा रमण हरि बोल जय जय राधा
रमण जय राधा रमण हरि बोल जय जय
राधा रमण हरि बोल जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल जय राधा रमण हरि बोल जय जय राधा रमण जय जय राधा रमण जय जय राधा
रमण हरि
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः
The actual vibration of the word, whether it's Krishna, whether it's Ram, there's actually a vibrational energy of that is very, very, very powerful. But more than that, the reason that we chant God's name is not to just chant it without any, without our minds being there, to just chant it like a word. We chant it to bring the divine into our consciousness. It's not about absent-mindedly thinking about something else but chanting that name. The more I chant it, the more that becomes literally the background in my life. When we first start chanting a mantra, we have to remember, I'm supposed to be chanting my mantra. Oh, yes, my mantra. But slowly what happens is the mantra actually starts chanting itself. And then what you find is that literally your mantra, whether it's a several word mantra or whether it's just a name of God, Ram, Shri Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, whatever way we're doing it, that's going constantly in your life. And the beauty of that is that as our breath, as our heart starts to literally beat with the name of God, it changes us on the inside. Most of the time our breath and our heart is beating with me, mine, mine. Desire, 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 fear, fear, fear. Scarcity, scarcity, scarcity. Rush, rush, rush. Whatever our thing may be. That's what's happening to most of us. And when instead of that we've got the divine, it literally, physiologically, biochemically, energetically, alchemically, on every level, changes our experience, changes our energetic frequency, and keeps us on a very conscious level, grounded and rooted in that. So japa is a very, very powerful practice for so many reasons. The most basic of which is simply that your mind can actually only be doing one thing at a time. We may think, it feels sometimes like my mind is in a million places. But really all that means it's in lots of places sequentially. At one moment, your mind actually can only be thinking about one thing. And if what I'm thinking about is God's name, then I'm not thinking about how much I'd like to kill my neighbor for his barking dog, or how much I'd like to, get my colleague fired for stealing my work, or how much I'd really like to, go to bed with somebody else's wife, or whatever it is that's taking us off track. If I'm chanting my mantra, that's what my mind is doing. And so it keeps me on track. That's just at the most basic level. That you could do with any word, any phrase, it doesn't matter. But the power of actually chanting a sacred mantra or chanting a sacred name of God is it becomes literally a vehicle that takes us there. What we think, so we become. Our thoughts literally create our reality. And so if what I'm thinking all the time is divinity, 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 God, God, that's what my life becomes. A power on a lot of different levels. So one aspect is literally the vibrational energy of that word. Krishna, Krishna. I am not, by the way, a sound specialist. I am not an expert in the Samved. But people who are could actually tell you the power of the Sanskrit syllables that make up these names and why that's powerful, aside from the fact that it also happens to be a name of God. So in and of itself, the syllables themselves, in a way that's different from the name of your mother or the name of your father, is very powerful. That's one way. However, in terms of the bhav, the feeling of it, then absolutely you should chant whatever name appeals to you. And Pujya Swamiji shares a beautiful story of a woman in America who came to him, a Christian woman who wanted a mantra. And in fact, she told him she wanted a Hindu mantra. She had heard that Hindu mantras were very, very powerful and very magic. And the mantra he gave her was Om Christ. And he shares that story frequently to remind us that it's not about a Hindu name of God. It's about your connection with God, and that Om Christ, if you're Christian, is just as powerful as Hare Krishna if you're a worshipper of Krishna. And so it's not that it has to be a Hindu mantra. If you are Christian, Om Christ, or just Christ, or whatever. When you say about how it says in the beginning there was the the word. Well, so again, that takes us to another level of understanding. There's many who understand that teaching to actually be a place where the Abrahamic biblical traditions intersect with the Indian spiritual traditions, where what we are told and taught is everything came out of Om, that Om is that sound of the universe. And so there's a lot of scholars who say, look, here we've got the exact same teachings. And of course in the Bible they don't say, and the word was Om. But nonetheless, in the beginning there was the word. And for the Sikh tradition, for example, it's all just about the word. That is God. And so that's another way of understanding it. But regardless of which way you go in, the power of japa cannot be overstated. And whether you're going to go in this way, or you're going to go in that way, or you're going to go in this way, in any way you go in, on any of the levels that we've spoken about its power, whether all of them appeal to you, one of them appeals to you, it doesn't matter. But we've been very, very clearly taught and told in many, many different texts by many, many different sages and rishis of different lineages, that chanting the name or chanting the word, whether it's Om or whether it's Krishna or whether it's Sat Nam, but that chanting the name, the word, is one of the most powerful ways into spiritual awakening and into connection with that whose name you are chanting. Is japa meditation, or is it different? And do you have to chant it out loud, or can it be inside? Is there a difference? What Pujya Swamiji says about doing japa is the chanting of the name. It's the practice of chanting the name or chanting a mantra. So whether it's one word or whether it's a phrase, japa is the practice of reciting that. Typically with a string of beads that we call a mala. He says when you do that, you literally should hear the mantra. You should see the mantra. You should taste the mantra. Meaning that the mantra literally becomes you. All of your senses are occupied in that mantra. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be spoken out loud. A lot of times, though, in the beginning, if we're just doing japa inside, our mind tends to wander a lot faster. So if I'm saying Krishna, 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 it's just a lot easier to stay on track than if I close my eyes and the mind just wanders a lot more when you're doing it inside than when you do it outside. So typically when you begin a practice of japa, it helps to chant it out loud. You then get to a place where you can just be doing it with your lips, but you don't actually have to be saying it. So you can just... So I'm doing. But again, also you can get to a place without the lips moving. It's not that, God's not reading your lips. So it's not a matter of, hey, what are you saying? I can't read your lips. Speak up. Obviously, God is getting it, even if your lips aren't moving and you're not using your vocal cords and you're doing it inside. It's much more about your level of focus and ability. So if you can stay totally focused without the lips moving, okay. But there's that beautiful line in the prayers that we chant in the morning about Mukhome Horam Nam Ram Seva Hatme. Keep the name of God on your lips, literally, and God's work in your hands, which to me implies that, the lips should be at least moving a little bit. It depends where you are. If you're sitting out with friends who really would prefer that you're paying attention to what they're saying, it's better not to be moving your lips. And people feel hurt. Come on, why aren't you paying attention to me? There you are, doing your japa again. Or if you're getting scolded by someone who's your, superior somewhere, chances are they're not going to be too happy to watch you sit there and do your japa while they're scolding you. Pay attention, listen to what I'm saying. So those are moments where you might want to not be moving your lips. But if you're doing it in your meditation area, if you're doing it while you're moving through your day, you're driving, you're cooking, you're washing the dishes, let the lips keep moving. And in terms of is japa meditation, no. But it's a way in. If you've only got time to do japa, don't worry. It gets you into an experience of meditation. But if you have time to do both, what I find is that doing my japa, I automatically get into a very, very meditative state. Even if I'm somewhere where my eyes are open. I'm not sitting in my temple, for example. If I'm traveling, I'm sitting in a car with people, I'm sitting on an airplane somewhere, I'm sitting on a stage someplace at a program that's going on a long time, or whatever it may be, and I'm doing my japa, well, you're not going to want to necessarily close your eyes all the time. But even so, what I notice is, even if my eyes are open, the practice of japa brings me into a very, very deep meditative state. And if my eyes are closed, when I'm doing it where I do most of it, sitting in my meditation time, it takes me very quickly into meditation. So the transition from doing japa to doing meditation is very, very smooth and very automatic almost. And the minute I put down the mala, the mantra keeps going. Even though I'm no longer doing japa and now I'm meditating, the mantra is still going. And that's the beautiful thing that happens, is it literally just starts going. So see whether you can give yourself enough time, even if it's just 5 or 7 minutes, that when you're done with your japa and you put down your mala, to just sit, even a few minutes, and just see the power that the japa has had on your meditation. Because we very easily connect with that whose name we're chanting. And so if I've been doing my mantra, that connection, that oneness, that stillness, that allness comes very, very quickly and naturally.